morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. On Tuesday, the 3rd day of April, year of our Lord 2018, welcome to the John Moore Show. The breaking news today is what's being described as a caravan of approximately 1,500 individuals, men, women, children, mostly from Honduras, I understand, that crossed the border from Guatemala into Mexico, and they're allegedly walking to the United States border, where they expect to have their demands met. Obviously, the main demand being to be let into the country illegally. The governor of Texas Governor Abbott has activated the Texas National Guard to protect the United States border. And Donald Trump is making some statements regarding this, and we shall see what will happen, won't we? Prepper tip of the day. We'll talk about this a bit more. We'll have open lines this first hour, and we'll have Leon Green the second hour. Prepper tip of the day is to prepare to deal with the consequences of electromagnetic pulse. That's your prepper tip of the day. Now, at my website at thelibertyman.com, there is a free download. It's the report from the commission of scientists and engineers appointed by the federal government to look into the everything to do with electromagnetic pulse and coronal mass ejections. The electromagnetic pulse is the human-made version. Coronal mass ejections are the energy coming at us from the sun that can accomplish the same thing in terms of knocking out modern electronics in our power grid. Free download at my website. There's a caveat that goes along with it. It was not provided enough funding to fully test the consequences of a strong EMP pulse against modern cars and trucks. They were told to do a reduced pulse so that the cars and trucks could be easily repaired and resold to save money for the federal government. So if you read the report without knowing that, you may think, well, this is great. My car, my pickup truck's going to be okay. That's not the case. Not at all. I did interview Dr. Peter Pry on this show. It's been, I guess it'll be 3 years ago this spring, and he told the real deal. Electromagnetic pulse may be the ideal weapon that's been described before and with other types of weapons. But it causes no permanent damage to the important, expensive infrastructure, such as roads, bridges, dams, waterways. The power plants themselves would be damaged severely on one hand. On the other, it would be a matter of replacing the damaged electronics to put the power plants back into action. No small thing. I don't mean to put that down. The U.S. government estimates that a nationwide power grid down situation in the lower 48 would result in 9 out of 10 Americans being dead within a year. 90% of the U.S. population in the lower 48. There's basically, in the lower 48 states, 3 power grids, one east of Mississippi, one west of the Mississippi, and Texas. Then, of course, we have 2 other power grids, that being Hawaii and Alaska. So that'd be 5 total. But the main focus, of course, is on the lower 48. That's where the population is. Most of the people in this country live in the lower 48. So here's the deal. A nuclear weapon exploded in space 50 miles up, 100 miles up. If it was done in the daytime, there'd be nothing to see. There'd be no sound. There'd be no explosive damage to anything on the ground. No nuclear radiation on the ground. What would happen on the ground would be a pulse of energy that would last a tiny fraction of a second. That pulse of energy would go to modern electronics, destroying modern electronics, which means the destruction of our infrastructure, since most everything of any real importance and significance is based on electronics these days. One really large device set off maybe 100 miles above Kansas could knock out most of the power grid. There'd be some isolated areas, especially areas shielded by mountains, possibly shielded by the Rocky Mountains, shielded by the Appalachian Mountains that may survive. But for the most part, it would knock out the lower 48. One set off above each time zone, Eastern, Central, Mountain, and Pacific, would probably be enough to knock out the national power grid. Most likely would be, depending on the strength of the pulse, the altitude, and so forth. Man-made electromagnetic pulse can only go in a straight line. It can't go around the curvature of the Earth. That's where the coronal mass ejection comes in. That energy coming from the sun could possibly be strong enough to go around the curvature of the Earth, possibly all the way around, knocking out modern electronics over the entire planet. In 2012, we were barely missed by a very strong coronal mass ejection. Barely missed. Will it happen in the future? Well, it's inevitable that at some point that will happen. Coronal mass ejection hitting our planet. Will there be nuclear devices set off in space to do this with electromagnetic pulse? Great question. I don't have any answers. I do know that last September, the former head of the CIA said and confirmed what we've been speculating for a number of years, that the two North Korean satellites that go over North America every 12 hours do in fact have nuclear devices on board. So that capability on the part of North Korea already exists. What else is up there? Flying over the United States in space, put there by China, put there by Russia. I don't know. If the federal government knows, they're not saying. Of course, now the new claim by Russia that they have missiles that can go 15,000 miles plus per hour, Mach 20. That would go from halfway around the planet in about, not quite 50 minutes. Those obviously and clearly could be used to set off nuclear devices in space above the continental United States. Let's go back to this Deagle report. Deagle is and I'm talking about my friend Bill Deagle, but it's a think tank that does research, publishes papers on behalf of their clients that pay them to do these things. They claim that by 2025, there will be a massive population reduction in the United States of America. They don't say why, they just say it's going to happen. Now, nationwide EMP would certainly be a great possibility for that to happen. There's other possibilities as well, of course. Could be a plague type disease, such as the 1918 Spanish flu, for example. The holy grail of men and women involved in biological warfare has been a contagious form of anthrax. Anthrax is not contagious, but a contagious form of anthrax would be another example. Regardless, EMP is very near the top of the list as to what could cause this to happen, this massive reduction in the U.S. population. Tomorrow, second hour, we'll have J.R. Nyquist on, Jeff Nyquist, and we'll be talking about some of these matters. You know, it can be pretty scary. I understand that, to talk about these things. Of course it is. Clearly, obviously it is. I don't encourage people to live a life in fear. I don't encourage people to make decisions based on fear. That is not a wise thing to do. I do encourage people to educate themselves on these matters, understand these matters, understand that these threats can be understood, that they can be overcome. That's what I encourage people to do. I encourage people to take the long-range outlook on these matters. Not only look at these threats, but look at your life. What kind of life do you want to live? In terms of lifestyle, location, daily activities, the community you live in, all those things. Well, I reached a conclusion back in 1998 that a safe haven would be good for myself and my family. I set about the business of creating that safe haven, which my friends and I, we did acquire the property in 1999, and we started our project then. That was 19 years ago. 15 years ago, I moved out there. I became a full-time resident in Davisville, Missouri. Having lived in the city most of my adult life, with some short exceptions, maybe a couple of years here and there. It was a refreshing change. Culture shock, to be sure, but good culture shock. Very refreshing and very good culture shock. I've come to understand the culture of the Ozarks somewhat. I'm certainly no expert. I did come to find out that I'm related by blood and marriage to a lot of people in my neighborhood. I had no idea before I moved out there, through my mother's side of the family. It's a different culture. Living in a country anywhere is different. The culture of the Ozarks has its own unique properties to it. And I'm really glad I made that decision. I'm glad that we made that move out there. I never owned dogs when I lived in the city. I always liked dogs, but I didn't think it was fair to the dog to have a dog in the city. It didn't seem appropriate to me. But we've had some dogs out there, and I've come to understand what marvelous creatures they are and how they each have their own unique little personality. And that was just one aspect of being out there. I was talking to a pastor of my church the other day, and he was expressing his dismay at not having tradesmen respond very quickly to getting a job done. And I said, yeah, how about mañana? There is a kind of sort of mañana attitude among many of my neighbors. Don't get in a hurry. They do get things done, but not with the expedience of many people in the city. That's just part of the culture also. And you either accept it or you don't, but you're not going to change it. It's a mixed bag of men who do act as quickly as we're used to in the city, and men and women who don't move quite as quickly to take on new tasks or accomplish tasks that are pending to be done. But that's okay. That's okay. It's part of the culture. During the War of Northern Aggression, Missouri was a border state with split sympathies between allegiance to the United States of America and allegiance to the Confederate States of America. More battles fought in the state of Missouri than any other state. There was quite a few traditional battles between uniformed soldiers, but it was mostly guerrilla warfare. The Arkansas-Missouri Ozarks is ideal guerrilla territory. Rolling hills, heavily forested, lots of streams. Ideal guerrilla territory. And that certainly is borne out by the history of what took place during the War of Northern Aggression. I know in my neighborhood, you'll see the Confederate battle flag flying from about, it's not quite 1 in 10 homes, maybe 1 or 2 out of 20 homes, about 1 out of 20, I'd say, flying the Confederate battle flag, including mine, by the way, on which I have a 3 by 5 foot, very nice Confederate battle flag on the front porch of my cabin. Sympathies for the Confederate States run hard and deep in our part of the world. Long memories of the War of Northern Aggression and knowledge of the war, the true knowledge of what truly happened during the War of Northern Aggression. Kind of a side note, but it's an important side note. If you haven't traveled these parts, get used to it. If the Confederate battle flag offends you, you're in the wrong place because you're going to see them all the time. Get over it. Get over it. One thing you won't see in my neighborhood, at least during 2008 and 2012, is yard signs supporting Hussein Obama. I did see one out of my entire county. I did see one yard sign supporting Hussein Obama during those 2 presidential elections. He must have felt pretty lonely, he or she. The U.S. Navy designated the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks as a safe haven. They did that 30 years, well, it's been almost 40 years ago now, 1979. Here's our break. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. Okay, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 3rd day of April. Getting back to electromagnetic pulse. You need to be independent. That's the bottom line. Once the infrastructure supports the United States is gone, you need to be self-reliant, independent, hopefully on a hobby farm that if it has any power is generating on its own, separate and apart from the power grid, protected from EMP, of course. Most people focus immediately on, will my car, my pickup truck, my motorcycle run? Well, that's an immediate problem, granted. Motor vehicles built 1972 model year and older We'll probably be okay. Probably be okay. Hard to say, but that's what we expect. Model year 1973 is when I started introducing. It's going to vary from model to model. The pickup trucks, it was a couple of years later. Diesels even a couple of years later after that. And if you don't understand how this works, talk to a mechanic. Even the 1972 model year, they had alternators instead of generators. Alternators have transistors, resistors, and diodes in them, and generators generally don't. You have to go back another 4 to 5 years or so to get back to where the automobiles had generators instead of alternators. You don't necessarily have to understand these matters yourself. If you know a competent mechanic who understands these things, that competent mechanic can help you understand these things and either purchase a vehicle that is old enough to be EMP resistant or modify a newer one, which I did. I worked with my mechanic to modify a 1988 Dodge 3/4 ton van. And I gave him the following instructions. I said, I want you to bypass or eliminate all transistors, resistors, and diodes in this van. He said, I can do that. And he did. So my 1988 Dodge van, basically, it has everything in it that a 1968 Dodge van would have in terms of what makes it go. It wasn't terribly expensive, by the way. Not really. Older diesel vehicles are simpler and easier to reverse engineer back to where they had no electronics. That's a short-term solution for the following reason. There will be no fuel for possibly for years. These refineries that make our diesel fuel, make our gasoline, are just filled up top to bottom, left to right with modern electronics. When they're gone for years. So whatever fuel you got is it. That's it. Whether you got 5 or 10 gallons or 5 or 10,000 gallons, when it's gone, it's gone. Might be good to convert one vehicle to run on hydrogen. That'd be a good thing to do, wouldn't it? Hydrogen as in hydrogen bomb, incredibly explosive gas. I've seen these vehicles. I haven't taken up the challenge to build one myself, but I've seen it. I've seen them run. Basically, all you do is it's a simple high school experiment, by the way, or even junior high school, to separate hydrogen and oxygen out of water. That's what water's made from, right? Hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. Separate the hydrogen from the oxygen, run it into the carburetor, and it makes the pickup truck go. I've seen this myself. It does work. So that might be a viable alternative. Being able to make your own diesel fuel, for example, out of vegetable oil might be a viable alternative, assuming you can get your hands on the vegetable oil. That might be a big if. But having a motor vehicle is, for most people, is going to be not a solution at all, or a short-term solution, which puts us back to what they have in the 19th century. Steam power, wind power, animal power, people power. Steam-powered motor vehicles, why not? They had them, the Stanley steamer, right? It would take years, several years, before fabricators started fabricating vehicles that could run on steam and so forth. And here's one of the problems with the consequences of EMP. Everything you need to fix what's broken is also broken. Everything you need to fix what's broken is also broken. That's the reality of electromagnetic pulse. We got a bottom of the hour break. Call number is 800-313-9443.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our Energy Cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an Energy Cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the Energy Cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the Energy Cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the third day of April. A quick month of the year is quickly getting going here, isn't it? My website is libertyman.com. That's libertyman.com. Lots of interesting things there. I already mentioned the free download at my website, the Commission EMP report commission, of that commission, their report. Also, you may want to check out Field Training Exercise USS Liberty, December 31st, 2018. One of the 5 scenarios listed there is preparing for EMP, and it would be a good thing to do. And to start now would give you the rest of the year until December 31st this year to get ready. There are several scenarios listed there. Let's see what those are. Number 1, economic collapse leading to civil disorder. Number 2, World War III. Number 3, rapid onset violent earth changes. Number 4, widespread terrorist attacks. And last but not least, natural or man-made EMP. So that's right there at my website. Also, my website, of course, you'll find energy cleaners for sale. Our Easter sale went well. Thank you very much for those who participated. The energy cleaner is a marvelous healing device. If you have issues with pain, issues with not getting a great night's sleep, arthritis, the energy cleaner will help you. Keep in mind, I offer from me to you personally a 90-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do from me to you personally. Only $285 shipping included to American zip codes. Mattress pads, they vary in price by size. We got the twin, full, queen, king, California king. Of course, the handy travel size when you're traveling, 12 by 24 inches. Everything's right there at my website at thelibertyman.com, where you can use PayPal. Most secure way to make any payment online, that's PayPal. It's a lot of fun, by the way, to use PayPal. MasterCard, Visa. You can send me a check or money order. My address is right there at my website at thelibertyman.com. And I have a toll-free order line 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. We got a caller on hold here. We had Rick. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, John. Say, one thing I want to mention briefly with respect to the, EMP, but one of the things that I don't know if anybody realizes this, or some do probably, but your solar panels, of course, are going to fry instantaneously. There they are, this great big flat surface completely filled with little transistors and all kinds of stuff.
Rick, stop. Stop.
Go ahead.
Stop. Okay.
Yes.
The solar panel isn't full of those things. The control mechanism is. On many of these solar panels, the control mechanism is simply plug in, plug out, which means you can either have the solar panels on standby with the control mechanism unplugged and then safely stored in a Faraday cage, or have a backup set of control units safely stored in a Faraday cage, because the panels themselves are simply silicone wafers that collect the energy and convert it into electricity. But without that will be safe from the EMP. What won't be safe is a control mechanism, right?
Well, that's excellent news. I was kind of worried about that. I was also thinking that if, in fact, the Makani wing generator, a thing like that, made low tech enough. I mean, basically, all he's got is a windmill spinning an electric generating unit of one sort or another. That could also be handy at that point too.
Right.
I would think.
Well, once again, the wing generator itself is not the issue. The issue is what generates the electricity, which would be either a generator or an alternator. And a 100-amp alternator that's meant to go on a diesel pickup truck would make a lot of electricity, and it takes up, you can fit two of them inside an average-sized microwave oven. These aren't very big devices. If you had all the control, the alternator or generator protected, all the other control, such as the inverters and whatever the control mechanisms they were, if you had them all protected in a Faraday cage, they would be fine. Now, with the following caveat, Rick, if I wanted to destroy the United States with EMP, I would do two pulses. The second one about 4 weeks after the first is what I would do. Yeah. So I would keep everything locked up for a month. I know it'd be hard, it'd be difficult, knowing that you could have electricity and wanting to set up everything, but I would wait a full month before setting up my alternate power in the event that our enemy is that clever and that devious that they would hit us with a second pulse after about 4 weeks.
Well, I do wonder, the older style, one of the diesel generators that I have, ex-military, it's a diesel brushless, it's only 3,000 watts, but my goodness, that's a lot if you don't have any. I wonder about I wonder how that thing would fare in an EMP. It's, I would wonder if it's low tech enough to survive that.
Well, if you got the operator's manual, the repair manual, I should say, you can determine for yourself what electronics, if any, are inside that machine. But something that small would be rather easy to protect from EMP, and just a simple metal yard shed, as long as it didn't have any windows and it had metal doors and was grounded in one spot, that would offer a lot of protection right there, Rick.
Well, what about those blankets, those steel or metal impregnated blankets that are supposed to be for that purpose? Is that?
Yep, that would be another way. That would be another way. Absolutely.
But you would hook that to a grounding rod, right?
Yeah, you want it grounded in one spot, and I would want something between the blanket, something non-conductive, such as cardboard or plywood, between the blanket
plastic tarp or something.
Yeah, something that would act as an insulator. Right.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, good information. I appreciate it.
And make sure it's disconnected from any wires leaving it. That would act as an antenna.
Oh, yeah. Well, we never hook it up unless we want it. But, yeah, you're right. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay. Fascinating stuff. Thanks a million.
Anytime, Rick. We appreciate the call. The call number is 800
All right. Okay, bye.
313-9443. Okay. U.S. Navy designated the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks, we know as far back as 1979, as a safe haven for the following reasons: elevation above sea level, distance from major bodies of water, homogeneous population, short, not too bad winter, long growing season, all the water we need, no major population centers, all those reasons. We got another caller here. We got Dan in Hawaii. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Really good. What's in your mind, sir?
Good. How about, John, how about the need of a Faraday cage for, let's say, marine deep cycle batteries?
The batteries don't need protection. There's nothing there that EMP is going to hurt.
Okay, good. One more thing. I remember back in the 70s, there was a catalog. I think it was Mother Earth News. They had plans for converting a VW to run on smoke. Do you recall that?
Well, Mother Earth News is a monthly. It's still published. It's a monthly publication. And
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there was a lot, literally thousands of vehicles converted during World War II, especially Germany.
That's what I remember on VWs.
Well, not just full-size trucks also. And it's simple. There's a lot of power in wood smoke, and those plans are easily acquired there, Dan. If you want to, I've seen Dodge pickup trucks running on smoke. It's a project, and it is doable. And you can run generators on smoke. You can run pickup trucks and automobiles on smoke. And with a VW or a standard, you have something welded on the back of it, a platform to hold the device. It looks kind of funny, but it will work.
Yeah. Well, there's another option then.
It is another option. Yes. All right. A lot of power in wood smoke.
I didn't realize that. All right. Thank you, John.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, I saw. Appreciate it. One of the expos I was at, it was a book vendor, and he had a hardbound book.
A VW to run on smoke.
I don't know what was going on there. A hardbound book with photographs of all the different motor vehicles that were converted in Germany to run on wood smoke, including cars and trucks and farm tractors. We got another caller here. We got Fred in Wisconsin. Good morning, Fred.
How's it going there? I
Really
just want to
good,
make a couple comments to go along with what I just heard earlier. People that have generators have to exercise the generators. I've found from my own mistakes that having a generator is one thing. If you don't run it on a normal basis, when you're really going to need it, it isn't going to work for you. And the other thing is I got an old Mercedes diesel that came with a mechanical pump, and there's absolutely nothing about that car other than possibly the alternator itself, which I could get around. But those types of older diesel cars would be perfect in the sense of being able to go down the road. But I can't stress this enough. I don't care if they're gas or diesel or natural gas, propane, whatever they are when it comes to generators. You got to run these generators, and you got to run them long enough to put a load on them and everything else, and it's got to become part of your routine if you're going to depend on it in the future.
Well, before you get away here, Fred, propane and natural gas does not have the fuel storage problems that gasoline and diesel does, because that propane in that tank will be the same propane 100 years from now as it is today. But I do agree with you. That goes not only for gen sets, but any piece of equipment needs to be maintained properly, and part of that proper maintenance is running them on a regular basis. Once a month would be a good routine to be on. Don't you think so, Fred?
Oh, absolutely. And on a little sidebar, knowing that you're an old biker, I could have you come up to Wisconsin and kickstart my knucklehead. I'd appreciate it.
Oh, boy.
I'm just fooling around.
Oh, okay. That's okay, Fred. Well, good luck on that.
Thank you very much. You guys
you.
have a good day.
Yeah, there was a time when motorcycles didn't have electric starters, and it could be a challenge to start one sometimes. I've never had. Let's see, my first motorcycle did have a kickstart option. It had both the electric start and the kickstart option, I believe, my first motorcycle. But my current motorcycle, Kawasaki 1600 Nomad, it has a very nice electric starter. Thank you very much. EMP. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. Going back to the technology of the late 19th century without the infrastructure of the late 19th century. Late 19th century, we had complete working infrastructure, police protection, fire protection, postal service, medical, hospitals, agriculture, manufacturing, transportation of people and goods and supplies, and so forth, none of which involved either electricity or internal combustion engines. That's what we had. We had steam power, horsepower, wind power, people power, animal power, no internal combustion engines, and no electricity. Well, that infrastructure is pretty much gone. Steam engines are basically a novelty. You've got some tourist attractions that have working steam engines. You'll see them at county fairs where hobbyists will have them set up and so forth. Wind power was still very popular for hobbyists with their sailboats for cruising and pleasure. But wind-powered cargo ships are pretty much non-existent. Next caller here is Bob in Pleasant Hill, Missouri. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Hey, I just wanted to suggest also another type of vehicle that runs on generator, old tractors. There are lots of them out there, like old Ford 8Ns or Massey Ferguson's or John Deere tractors that still run on generators, and there's lots of them, and they don't cost a lot of money.
Well, my neighbor has about 12 antique tractors. I believe all of them run. And I've known I know several guys that are antique tractor collectors. And you're right, Bob. And it may not be a fun ride, it may not be a pleasant ride, but it's better than walking, isn't it?
That's right. I've got 4, and I enjoy them. I still use them.
Outstanding. Thank you for the call, Bob. We appreciate it. You know, tractors. These old farm tractors from the 40s, 50s, 60s, properly maintained, they will haul a load. That load could be people, that could be hay, it could be a load of bricks, it could be anything. Here's our break. Call number is 800-313-9443. Be right back. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 3rd day of April. Well, the conversation this hour has been about electromagnetic pulse and its twin sister, twin brother, coronal mass ejections, energy coming at us from the sun. What we've set up worldwide, especially here in the United States, is a marvelous system of infrastructure to provide health and safety and comfort and luxury unparalleled in recorded history. Unparalleled on one hand. On the other, incredibly vulnerable to man-made EMP attack or natural coronal mass ejection. You need to be aware of this. You need to understand it. And in my opinion, you need to take action to protect yourself and protect those you care about. If you become part of a self-sufficient hobby farm that is not dependent on the power grid, not dependent on modern electronics, that could easily be a matter of life and death for you and your family. Make the difference between life and death for you and your family. Easily make the difference. There's a lot more to this, of course, than just talking about it. Dramatic if you're a city dweller and have never been a farmer, never lived in the country. It's going to be a dramatic change in your lifestyle. Learning new skills, being physically active, all of which are doable if you have normal health and strength. You don't need to be all that strong or all that healthy, just healthy enough and strong enough. You don't have to do all the work yourself, hopefully. Hopefully there'll be other people that can help you and be part of that project. I work with a lot of people that are doing this. And here's our last caller this hour. John in Missouri. Almost out of time, John. Make it quick.
Yes, sir. How long do you think diesel fuel stays viable?
We used at our place diesel fuel that was stored for 14 years or so, and we used what is that product? I'm blanking out on it. I'll remember it and announce it during the next hour because we're almost out of time here.
Is it a diesel fuel treatment?
Right. There's two. They make two versions: one for gasoline, one for diesel fuel. And
Stable?
No, I do not use Stable. This is far better than Stable. Stable will last for a couple of seasons. But this other product is far better. The stuff that really works is the military issue, but I can't get my hands on it. It's incredibly toxic and dangerous stuff to mess around with. You need to protect all these stored fuels from air, from moisture, and from heat. That's very important. Underground storage is the best to protect fuel from heat and moisture and the air. So that's very important there, John. I'll get the name of that product and we'll announce it in the next hour. Here's our top of the hour break. We'll be back with Leon Green. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here, our second hour on Tuesday, the third day of April. How about that? Holdover from last hour, the fuel stabilizer I've used with great success. There's two versions, one for gasoline, one for diesel. PRI, that's Papa Romeo India Golf, G for gasoline, and PRI, D as in diesel, for diesel fuel. PRI, that's Papa Romeo India Delta for diesel fuel. Both listed for sale under John Survival and Tactical Gear. You also may want to check out the AMSOIL fuel stabilizers. I'm an AMSOIL dealer. My Lincoln Town Car this week will turn over 375,000 miles using all AMSOIL products. So I've been using AMSOIL products exclusively for I guess about 30 years or so, close to it, with great success. And I can't afford to be buying motor vehicles all the time, so I make them last forever, basically, using AMSOIL products. Prepper tip of the day. That's to get ready for EMP. We spent all of last hour discussing that. If you didn't hear it, well, go back to the archives and you'll get an earful. The breaking news continues to be the more than 1,500 men, women, and children walking from Honduras to the United States. They're demanding to be let into the United States. How about that? We're patient waiting Green with my friend Leon Green. Leon is a gentleman who's taken the time, made the effort to become quite knowledgeable of all the many wonderful things that incorporating doTERRA essential oils into your daily life can do for you. And we'll be talking about doTERRA essential oils, taking your questions, calls, and comments at Republic Broadcasting at 800-313-9443. Good morning, Leon.
Morning, John. How are you doing? I did hear your call, the previous call, and it was, you're right, PRID and G, and I have a couple of gallons of both of those, and I use it regularly.
Yeah, well, it's we've had good results. We were using stable fuel that was put in storage and stabilized in 1999, using it up until about 2 years ago. It wasn't stored as well as I would have liked. They were in steel tanks exposed to the sunlight, which means a lot of heat, but they were sealed up pretty tight, and we had real good success with them. And so I got a good track record with those. And knowing AMSOIL as I know AMSOIL, they don't release anything to the public until they've done their homework, and I know they've got it right. So there's a couple of choices there, Leon. Well, Leon, what's new in the doTERRA world, if anything?
Well, there's lots of new things. Probably the most prominent is this new company we're working with called APRC, Aromatic Plant Research Council. And they're even more extensive than the previous person, who was Dr. Robert Pappas out of Indiana. And so they've replaced him in that they have a much larger staff. They have 6 doctors, PhD doctors on staff, instead of just one. So it's and this entity is separate from doTERRA, so they are unbiased. All they do is give us the results, and they were the ones that are prominent with the thing called the Source CU, where people can look on the sides of the bottles, look at the date, time stamp of whenever the bottle was born, and they can find out everything about that. How much linalool, aldehydes, ketones, down to a millionth of a drop. They know the exact constituent, and so that is one of the most important scientific ones. And there's not another company in the entire world that does this level. They do over 15 different tests, chirality, how the molecules are. You can test and see if many times the lesser companies will put synthetics in there, and the molecules, if they are synthetic, will have a certain it may be a positive spin or a negative spin, and many companies, they don't spend the money on that. And so what happens is they're like, okay, we're going to make this geranium a rose, and we're going to charge $100 a bottle, and nobody will know unless they do these tests. And so when people say, oh, ours is good enough, that is not acceptable for doTERRA. Our attitude is we want to make sure everything is 100% certified pure therapeutic grade. That means you can drink it, you can place it on your skin, you can cook with it, and you can inhale it. So it's just one more step that they emphasize in the importance of potency and purity.
All right. Well, that's good news. That's absolutely good news. I'm glad. And doTERRA is moving forward with new protocols, new ideas, new ways to demonstrate the superiority of doTERRA products all the time, aren't they?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I'm going to be gone for this event, but there's going to be one in Colorado in about 3 weeks. And this company, APRC, is coming here, and they're going to do a 2-day chemical class. It talks about, all the specifics on essential oils, and it's ironic that it's going to be in my home state while I'm going to be gone doing some more adventure training in Utah. But that is available for anybody who wants to attend it. So it's here in Colorado, and it's a 2-day class. You have 3 PhDs going in depth about the specifics about essential oil. So I've asked them if they can stream it. I would definitely love to pay them to watch that and learn more. So they're looking into that, at least recording it.
All right. Well, I look forward to. Well, that's great news, Leon. That's really good news. Yeah, if you got a question or comment about doTERRA oils, give us a call at 800-313-9443. If you don't want to discuss your personal health history in front of several thousand people here in Republic Broadcasting, then Leon has graciously made himself available for private consultations, and he'll give out his office telephone number here, which is Mountain Time, for a private consultation. What is that number, Leon?
Yes, it's 303-495-2188.
303-2905. Disregard. 303-495-2188. Okay. Well, you may be sitting out there thinking, boy, I got this condition, I got that condition. I wonder if doTERRA oils would help. These are essential oils. They've been around for thousands of years. So as long as we have had recorded history for basically 5,000 years plus, there's records and remaining samples of these essential oils haven't been used 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, aren't there, Leon?
Yes, sir. And matter of fact, the book you always recommend, The Modern Essentials, well, they have one whole section specific in the history of essential oils, whether it's in China, the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians. It goes in depth. And so many of those records have been maintained even after, because they would keep track of tax records, of course, but they'd also have the medical application too. So a lot of times you can find it in the same venues that you'd have it because of the importance.
Absolutely. Well, if you want to get started with doTERRA essential oils yourself, you need to do two things. First of all, get yourself a copy of the book, Modern Essentials. 2 editions, the 5th edition and the 9th edition. If you can only get one to start with, I would get the 5th edition first. Then when you save up and can buy the 9th edition, go ahead and get it also. They both have their own standalone value. And the second thing, send me an email. My email address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. By return email, I will send you my doTERRA website link. Leon, yesterday evening I was talking to one of my doctor friends, a chiropractor, and I was telling him about how I visit with you the second hour every Tuesday here on my radio show. And he may be listening now. I don't know. He's a pretty busy guy. He may be listening to the archives. But we have a lot of healthcare professionals that are using doTERRA essential oils both in their practice and privately for themselves and their families, don't we?
When I think about we have a medical panel that occurs during our annual convention, and they bring in these doctors from all over the world that use them professionally and privately, personally. And if you looked at their credentials, even in the medical field, they would be highly renowned because of the fact that 2 of them are from Harvard doctors, and one of them is also both of them are surgeons, and the other one one of them is also a Harvard and an MIT surgeon. So he's a dental surgeon. He fixes broken bones in the jaw and the mandible, maxilla, and one of the biggest challenges he has is infection, because the mouth is one of the dirtiest orifices in the body, and they have to prevent it from getting reinfected. So they use the oils pre and post op, and so the depth of knowledge that's available is incredible. And one of the other things he talked about at the event was we're going to be doing some clinics with mainstream media. There were 10,000 research studies available to these doctors nationwide that are going to be coming to us to use it, incorporate it, because more and more doctors are being receptive to the idea of natural applications of the oils, as long as they can see the scientific validity. And so there's going to be a campus there in Salt Lake City, and they're already making plans for 2, one in another one up in Hawaii and Alaska, and then several others scattered throughout the lower 48. So when we get those locations, we'll pass them on to you. And one other really exciting thing is there's going to be another location, another warehouse that's opening in Dallas-Fort Worth area. And since we're doing roughly 9 million bottles a day, the we're actually producing 9 million bottles a day. They're going to have another site that can be more efficient. So we have one in Atlanta, and the main headquarters is in Salt Lake City, and so we have one there, and then we also have one, and now we're building one, and they're already setting up the infrastructure in Fort Worth to be able to service the Midwest as well, make it more efficient and faster delivery. So right now, anywhere in America is typically 2.4 days is the average delivery time, and that's gonna help.
It will. Leon, when I was in Dallas a couple of weeks ago, there was several women that had a doTERRA display set up. They had 2 8-foot tables. It was very professional, very well done. They had the diffusers going the entire time of the conference, and a lot of activity at their table. People stopping by, asking questions, buying product. This is really catching on, isn't it?
Absolutely. Roughly 75% of Americans are looking for natural ways to improve their health. 34% of them are living it. So we're talking about, apple vinegar or apple cider vinegar, natural products for deodorant, things of that nature, essential oils, of course, the whole gamut, organic food, Berkey water filters or purified water. So the people that are going in that direction is increasing, and doTERRA is at the forefront of this wave because they realize that people want to have natural products that can benefit themselves without the side effects, the expense, the shortened shelf life, and all these applications mean even more for people who are in preparedness, because this infrastructure we have gotten accustomed to and expect is if there is any kind of infrastructure damage, like what happened in Puerto Rico, where people are still in the dark 7 months later after the hurricane, those, if you don't have access to the drugs, then what will happen is people who have life-saving or life-essential drugs are going to be the first to expire, and then it'll just keep going down the list. The ones who've been off the drugs or the psychotropic drugs, then you're going to have really bizarre incidents. And
Absolutely.
And so it is crucial to have alternatives that had documented history, 5,000 years of application, because they were around way before all these recent, the new miracle. But the miracle is starting to wear off, just like the antibiotic miracle. Even the CDC director said the antibiotic miracle is coming to an end. We no longer have the ability to conquer every bacteria and virus we had in the past, or actually any bacteria. And so we are well overdue for a major pandemic. The last one was 1918, and that killed anywhere between 20 and 50 million people, depending on who the sources are. And that was last century. So if something of that magnitude, another H1N1 bird flu, swept through, and because our transportation is so prolific, it'd be catastrophic. You talk about quarantine, shutting down the borders, all these things should come to a grinding halt. Anybody in tourism would be drastically impacted because people wouldn't be traveling.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this goes hand in glove with the first hour, consequences of EMP. Right now, Leon, we have what appears to be, it may be a complete illusion, but what appears to be the luxury of time to prepare for if it would happen. People need to make use of this time we have to incrementally, one prescription item at a time, substitute the proper doTERRA essential oil, or oils, plural if it's necessary, for the prescription pharmaceutical product they're using now, rather than to go to cold turkey after the event and have to wean yourself off 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 different pharmaceutical products all at the same time. That would be incredibly tough, wouldn't it, Leon?
Yes, for not only the person, but also the relatives, because they'd be dealing with emotional instability, and also if it is life-threatening, if they have any access to medical personnel, those people will definitely be coming at a price, and they will have to most likely be related, because of the fact that I mean, I even talked when I was out at Frontside. I talked to several firemen and police officers, and I asked them. I said, "Things go south, and you're no longer paid. How much longer are you going to be coming to work? I know your desire to maintain the Constitution and protect and serve, which is the official logo." And they said, "We're not going to be coming to work anymore."
Right. Here's our break. Call number is 800-313-9443. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 3rd day of April, visiting with Leon Green. No apologies, none necessary. We're talking about doTERRA essential oils, a great way to improve your health, your energy, deal with chronic issues that people have dealt with for years, possibly decades. I use my doTERRA products every day. My wife, Dr. Moore, uses her doTERRA products every day. Leon, obviously you do, and you're one of the healthiest, most energetic men I've ever known. And you can also, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you can. So here we go. Let's see. We got a next caller here. We got Carol in Michigan. Good morning, Carol. Hello, Carol.
Hi, John. Hi, Leon. I listen to your show as many times as I can, and I love your hours with Leon. I have a question for Leon. I use as many doTERRA oils as I can, but I have what I think they call ashen elbows. Now, I have always, from years and years ago, always made sure I used hand cream long time ago on my elbows, but it's below my elbow, and it's kind of darkish. And I've been using, for the last couple of weeks, oregano and carrier oil. I've tried frankincense and carrier oil, and I was wondering if there was something else that I could be using.
When you say, hi, Carol.
Hi.
Hi. And now when you say ashen, was that a doctor's diagnosis?
No, I kind of read it in a magazine, but I've been dealing with it for a couple years or more, and it's just kind of darkened spots under my just below the little elbow, the little part that sticks out, and what I normally would do is take one of those filers that people use for their nails, like a little buffer, and because it's dry skin, but it's not red. It's dark.
Okay. As a matter of fact, maybe why don't we do this? I would love to see if you have pictures of it. Could you possibly take a picture and text it to me or email it to me? Then I can give you some other ideas. When you were saying dryness, coconut oil is fantastic. And we also have one called Lifelong Vitality that has CoQ10 and several other oils that are very good. But I would say if you use lavender, melaleuca, along with coconut oil as a carrier oil, that would increase the lubricity of your skin. But since I can't see it right now, and even though you use that filer to get rid of the dry skin, so you can get down to the soft spot, I'd love to see a picture of it so I can give you some ideas. And plus, if you have a picture,
it's on both elbows too.
Yes.
And like I said, the only thing that kind of works is doing that little buffer, like you said, to get rid of the dryness or the toughness, and then I can put something on it, and it seems to help for a day or so, but it's still there.
Okay, and I'm curious, did you ever work in any kind of chemical plant? Could it have
no.
conceived in? Okay. So it's not like your elbow sat in some kind of liquid dissolvent and burned you there. Okay.
No, no, not at all. No, but I've always, like I said, I've seen, growing up, I've seen people with elbows that were really dried and cracked and stuff like that. So I've always made sure when I was trying to growing up, putting the lotion on, so my elbows weren't dried and cracked. But then I've been noticing this, like I said, it's something called ashen that I thought that was what was in the magazine, and I thought, I bet that's exactly what this is, because it's, like I said, it's not itchy, and I know frankincense is, helps a lot, but I was just thinking maybe oregano and that in the coconut oil, and I just roll it on.
Yes. One other thing is, it concerns me is the vast majority of people who have Candida albicans. They get it from taking antibiotics, and it kills the probiotics in the gut. And so what happens is many times it'll manifest or present in the form of skin issues, and this could be localized in just that area. Many times people they put lavender on a cut, and that just gets really inflamed, or say they have rashes like similar to what you have, and it gets inflamed, and that's because the lavender or melaleuca is very aggressive against the Candida albicans spores. And what happens is once they get rid of it in their gut using several things, GX Assist and then PB Assist, then it gets rid of it systemically throughout the whole body. So it could be just localized dryness, but for having it for years seems to be unusual, especially since you've used different oils. But I would also
I've only started using the oils on it in the last 6 months, maybe. I've always just used, took the buffer and used like a good, I've even had a prescription from a doctor, like a cream or something, but that didn't do anything. The only thing that helps it is just, like I said, that buffer, which buffs it down, because it's kind of, it's rough, but it's not red at all, it's not itchy, it's just very annoying and bothersome.
Carol, hold over through the break. We'll wrap this up when we get back from the break. Everybody stay tuned.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 3rd day of April. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. You'll find a lot of interesting things there, free downloads, excellent videos, a lot of things to check out. And, of course, the Energy Cleaner. We just finished our Easter sale. It was quite successful. Thank you very much for those who participated. The Energy Cleaner is a healing device. Most Americans have issues most of the time with sleep and pain. The Energy Cleaner will help with both sleep and pain. That's what we focus on. That's what we do. We focus on sleep and pain. Keep in mind, I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. That's from me to you personally on the Energy Cleaner. So you're risking nothing when you buy the Energy Cleaner. I get about 4 back a year out of the hundreds that I sell. Not too bad. Be sure and check out the factory-made fitted mattress pads that go with the Energy Cleaner. And this is not the silver bullet. No, you're going to have to make dietary changes, attitude changes, exercise changes, but the Energy Cleaner will help. It will, without a doubt, help. Only $285. Shipping included to American zip codes. I do take PayPal, the most secure way to make any payment online, MasterCard, Visa. If you need to send me a money order or a check, well, just drop it in the mail. My address is right there at my website at thelibertyman.com. My toll-free hour line 24 hours a day. Here it is. 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. We're talking about those hair essential oils. We got Leon Green with us. And Carol, are you still with us, my dear?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I got a couple of questions for you. Your primary health care provider, would that be a medical doctor or a chiropractor?
Well, I'm trying to stay away from the medical doctor. I have gone to a chiropractor that is, what could I say? He kind of does natural stuff.
Okay, that's great. Well, here's the reason I asked. Medical doctors get 3 course hours in nutrition in medical school. Chiropractors get 12 course hours in nutrition in chiropractic school. My wife is a chiropractor. 400% more, 4 times more. And frequently, most of the time, most chiropractors will continue their studies after graduation, continuing to learn more about nutrition as their career moves forward. So I think you're going in the right direction there, Carol.
I believe he's the one that I've been trying to stay with, but due to budget concerns, I haven't tried to go to them too often, if you know what I mean. I'm just, but I really like him, and he's a chiropractor, I think he's helped me a lot. As to Leon's thing about antibiotics, when I go to the dentist, which is a bad thing too now, I'm realizing, because of all the mercury and everything in our mouths, I've had 2 knee replacements, and they have me take 4 capsules of amoxicillin an hour before I go. So that's usually the only antibiotics that I've been taking over the last year. I kind of got that respiratory crud, as I call it, I think, from all the geoengineering stuff that everybody had, and I just kind of used Deep Blue and breathe and just different things that are supposed to help you get through it, which I did get through it. But as for medicines, I'm trying to get off of them.
I understand. And if you,
good for you, Carol.
Can you? Yes, that is good. If you can send me a picture of that, we can discuss this more, and we can maybe come up with a couple of protocols. And by having a picture and a baseline, we can be objective to see how effective it is. But we also have to verify if you have candida, because if you do, along with the vast majority, I had it as well. And that's because I took it after in the military, after a surgery on my foot, getting rid of a plantar's wart that came through my foot running on the beach with a bunch of special forces. And so what happened is candida will go into your gut as fast. It's in the water, it's in the air, it's everywhere, it's in the food, but your body's mechanisms normally can counter it very quickly. But if you already have a weakened immune system or you've taken lots of antibiotics, they will kill the probiotics in your gut. And these are like squatters, people who want to come in, or items that want to come in and then it's pretty much take over. And unless you have the ratio of 80% to 20% probiotics to the natural bad biotics, what will happen is you'll start to have an influx. It gets worse and worse, and there's a direct correlation with extreme candida or yeast overgrowth in the body and cancer. So it is something that is not really addressed very much in modern medicine because of the fact that they like to treat the symptoms, and that's where all the money is in the treatment instead of
exactly. And I want to treat the cause.
Yes, ma'am. So if you want to,
Leon, you said something about to try the lavender and the melaleuca. Like I have a little. Oh gosh, I can't remember. The bottle's not very tall. Like a little roll-on bottle. I put the coconut oil in, and then I put the drops of doTERRA in it. How many drops maybe could I start with lavender and melaleuca? I know melaleuca's stronger, but
yes. And so, what's nice about the oils, you don't have to be precise. It's not like weight on children, so you can put 3 or 4 drops if it's those typical rolled-on bottles from doTERRA. And if you put too much in, that's not a problem. You're just going to have, like lavender, it'll just make you more and more relaxed. And melaleuca, your body's going to absorb everything it can in that time frame. And the advantage of using the coconut oil is it'll stay on the skin longer because it is suspended in the oils. Whereas when you just do it straight, it'll be absorbed right through the skin transdermally, and it'll go in the bloodstream.
Then it could be too much too if it was absorbed right away. Oh no. No. If you like last night, I took Serenity and I had 4. I normally take 2, and this is the first time I ever took 4. I was completely knocked out, and I slept very well. And what was that you took? Gel caps. It's called Serenity what kind of gel cap? Complex. Serenity has lavender, and so you. What's nice about the oils, you can't overdose. We're talking about drinking, quarts or gallons of oil. So you would not. That would not be even conceivable. So if you have more oregano on it, it may be more sensitive because of how hot oregano can be, or lemongrass or cinnamon. But if you have too much lavender, you'll just be very, very, very relaxed. It's not going to have a negative application. Well, that's good because a lot of times I get to it a second or third time just before bed. So the lavender would be very helpful then too. Okay, well I don't want to
Carol,
take
do you have
anymore.
Leon's telephone number?
Go ahead and give it to me again, please, John.
Go ahead, Leon.
303 495 2188.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I have that. And then I have an email. It's in my phone, which I'm not going to take time. But go ahead and give me your email that you want me to send the picture to.
Yes, it's Leon at Obundance. O, Oscar, Bravo, Uniform, November, Delta, Alpha, November, Charlie, Echo.
Okay.
.com. So Obundance.com. We chose the O from doTERRA. doTERRA is a special O. That's right.
Okay, very, very good. All right, well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. And, Leanne, I will get that to you.
Okay, Carol.
Good show, too. Thanks, John.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you very much. Call number is 800-313-9443. Helping people, that's what it's all about, right, Leon?
In fact, I sent you an email yesterday, last night. Did you happen to see that? About Arkansas as one of 17 other states that are now suing Big Pharma about the opioid crisis?
I did. And I attend the chiefs meeting once a month in my county, the police chiefs, fire chiefs, paramedic chiefs, and the sheriff's office. And that beginning several months ago, the discussion centered around how the police can carry the necessary medicine to save people's lives that are in the process of dying from opioid overdose, heroin overdose. It's scary stuff, and it's nationwide, Leon. And I agree. There should be some responsibility on the part of not only the manufacturers, but also the distributors and the medical doctors who prescribe this stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but it is absolutely out of control, isn't it?
Absolutely. If I was looking at Blacklisted News, and they described it, state sets massive precedent, makes Big Pharma pay to fix the opioid crisis it caused. In 2014, they made $11 billion. But that's a ton of money. But the problem is that since they first started, over 100,000 people have died in suicide and also homicide attached to how bizarre these withdrawals have been from these opioids, Oxycontin, Oxycodone. We can just go down the list of all. And so, that swath in America is even worse than the money they've made. So, I'm glad they're making profit, but not at the expense of Americans and other people worldwide for that matter. So, I just saw that last night. I just thought it was crucial to pass it on to people, saying that 17 states are irritated enough to start a lawsuit. And then I hope it has the same precedent that they did with cigarettes, and saying, okay, not only notifying people, but we need to make some changes now.
Absolutely. Well, this is part of the program of having optimal health, optimal energy. It's not the silver bullet. If you think you can continue having beer, pizza, and ice cream as the three main food groups in your life, well, you're sadly mistaken, aren't you, Leon?
Absolutely. And it was funny when I was in overseas in Austria, and even in Israel, they had cigarette packages that say, it says, smoking causes cancer in big letters, and this will kill you. And I'm like, wow, if they had something that prominent here in America, it would definitely dissuade. But since we are so snowflakish over here, we don't. Yes. But I should have kept, grabbed a pair of cigarettes just to bring it back to show people, okay, this is what the rest of the world is showing, how toxic things are. But here, we're a bunch of mamby-pambies, and they don't care about the people, and they're like, okay, we're going to make money regardless, and we don't care. And so it was just funny to see that. And my son was astounded, saying, wow, Dad, it's that bad? I'm like, yes. How many millions of people have died from... Because there's over 638 chemicals that are in that are on the tobacco plants. And so, it wasn't so bad until they add all the chemicals, and that's what's causing all the mutations in the cells and the lungs. And it's the number one cause of lung cancer is smoking. So it's just bizarre that we ask for organic everything, but we allow over 600 chemicals to be in something people smoke, and it's just bizarre that people even accept that. They don't even think about it.
In addition, and I have two friends that smoke these organic cigarettes, which are incredibly expensive. Even in the absence of all these added chemicals, which they do have those in there, all tobacco all the time was putting carbon monoxide into your bloodstream. So I don't think you can get a C- in high school chemistry and not know that carbon monoxide does not belong inside human beings, can you?
You're right.
I mean, seriously, Leon, all the chemicals are dangerous in and of themselves, granted, but the carbon monoxide, I don't care how organic your cigarettes are, you're still introducing carbon monoxide into your bloodstream.
Yes, sir.
Well, I believe most of the listeners to the John Moore Show already know the harmful effects of tobacco, so we really don't need to be whipping that puppy anymore. But if you do want to be healthy and have optimal strength, optimal energy, optimal health, incorporating the doTERRA essential oils into your life will help you achieve those goals. No, they're not the silver bullet, or silver bullets plural. They are part of an overall healthy lifestyle. That's what they are. And they're not standalone things to cure everything all the time. They're part of all the other things you do. And Leon, you do other things also. For example, you don't drink water that's got sodium fluoride and chlorine in it, do you?
Absolutely. I mean, I even take a purifier, the Berkey filter out there, and I will extract the chemicals as well, even on the range. So yes, and it's not as convenient as doing it at home, but it's crucial that I keep my body in great shape. And it was funny, like that compliment you gave me earlier about being energetic, and I was with another class when I was out there. There was a little lull, and I took a class with a CIA contractor, and he teaches, and he goes into the sandbox on a regular basis. And he said, you were more active than the people that were younger than you and everyone else that was older than you. And he said, and so he was surprised at the rapidity, and I was glad to hear that. And I was thinking, doesn't everybody have that quality of life? And the more I talk to people and the more I see it on the range.
No, not even close. Not even close, Leon. Not even close. And yes, and this is the way life can be, the way life should be, is a fun, full, happy, productive life. That's what we encourage people to live. And the majority of Americans, I would have to say, really aren't living that lifestyle, are they, Leon?
No, and what, even at the convention or the leadership convention that they had in Long Beach, you can see some very new people that are just joining with doTERRA. And they've come from the masses, and they have the overweight issues, and knee surgeries and things like that. But I noticed as they progress in with doTERRA that they seem to get healthier, and they have more energy. And so it's just it's really I mean, I've seen some people that are just like, wow. And the way the body protects itself from toxic food and pesticides and all the preservatives is it encapsulates in fat. So it's not like these people, sit home and all they do is eat 18 pounds of food a day. It's that the food they eat is toxic, and that's why they get so fat. And it's so blatant. But when you say it to people, it's almost offensive. It's, I'm not thinking that they're eating, 20 pounds of food. What it is that the food they're eating at the fat food places. I call it junk food, or fat food is my term for it. And so if they can change their diet and increase some activity, not necessarily even exercise, just get out and play, get movement, that will have a huge impact on your life. And so it was just really noticeable when in the last 3 days when I was there, how I went to the back of the room where some of the more junior people are with doTERRA, and the obesity levels just started going higher and higher. And it was noticeable.
I know. It's pretty scary stuff. Here's our last break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. J.R. Moore here on Tuesday, the 3rd day of April, with Navy veteran Leon Green. And Leon, the U.S. Navy, on their new ships, will be eliminating urinals.
You say?
The U.S. Navy, on their new ships being built, are eliminating urinals because women can't use them. That caught you off guard, didn't it?
No kidding. I mean, that's crazy. I remember as PI.
It's
Go ahead.
The word hubris. Hubris?
Yes.
To believe that military discipline, military training can overcome something that's created 7 billion people on this planet, that military training and military discipline will get attractive young women to be ignored by handsome young men. Right. In your dreams.
Right.
Young sailor, you are ordered not to look at that attractive young woman that you're passing in a very tight passageway, who is very attractive and finds you very handsome. Don't pay attention to that woman. Ignore her.
That's right. I mean, I remember during the first Persian Gulf War, we left Singapore and we were out to sea for 11 months. I think they had 28 babies. And they all said, no, we didn't have the babies while on the ship. We had it when we were in Hong Kong, Singapore, and that biologically that was impossible. The time frame that we were out there, and so you're right. It's insane for them to think that it's not going to occur, and they can. It's like me scuba diving with sharks. They say you can't take a knife down there because you may ruin the reef. And they say that's a great idea, but the sharks do not obey the law. And if I can't protect myself, I don't care about your stupid regulations. And so it's just like that. Biologically, it's going to happen regardless of what silly regulations humans make up.
Well, hopefully Donald Trump will bring some sanity to the military services and stop the insanity that's been going on for decades. Not just Obama. It predates Obama by many years. Well, Leon, we're pretty much out of time here. We've had a wide-ranging discussion, as always, and helped some people here along the way to get some information that will help them. If you want to get started with doTERRA, do two things. Send me an email by return email. I will send you my doTERRA website link. And do yourself a favor. Do yourself a copy of the book Modern Essentials, 5th edition. If you can afford it, also get the 9th edition, just published this past September. Then you have the tools you need. If you need a private consultation, Leon, the Navy veteran, who was on ships when they still had urinals, by the way, his office telephone number is 303-495-2188. Back when men were men and Navy ships were Navy ships, Leon, right?
Absolutely. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Leon. Appreciate it.
Finish off.
Have you next Tuesday. Okay, that's it for the day. Get your medical supplies, your energy cleaning, your essential oils now while you can, your firearms ammunition. Never, ever give up your guns. Please do have a fun, safe, productive day. And God bless America.